Welcome to the Create Your Happy podcast, where the mission is to empower women in their journey of self-discovery. Here we explore how to fully embrace our humanness, find our unique voice, and understand that through unconditional love and conscious relationships, we have the power to change the world. I'm your host, Christy Holt, your one and only happiness hussy, adventure guide, and conscious funpreneur. I'm on a heartfelt mission to change the world one beautiful soul at a time. Are you ready to elevate your relationships to the next level? I've got you. It's time for a messy fucking beautiful adventure. It's time to create your happy. Hello, gorgeous humans. Welcome back to Create Your Happy. I'm Christy Holt, your one and only happiness hussy and adventure guide, guiding you through the storms and sunshine of life and love. And today we're going to be venturing a little bit deeper into a question that tugs at the heartstrings of so many people. Should I stay or should I go? And this episode is a bit of a continuation of our journey into self-discovery and authenticity, and how these crucial elements lead us to the relationships and lives that we truly desire. So join me today as I share a little bit more of my own personal story, including some of the profound lessons from my 2 divorces, and how embracing my true self opened the door to a love that feels like magic. Facing the stay or go decision is a monumental moment in most of our lives. Those of us that have had to face it know that it challenges us in that we need to listen so incredibly intently to our inner selves and to identify what truly resonates with our spirit. Now, for me, this decision was about recognizing the misalignment in my relationships and about daring to follow my heart, even when it meant walking away from something that I didn't want to walk away from, but also didn't know how I could continue to live with. And for a long, long time, I really tried to make things work. I put on masks and I performed in ways that I believed would result in the love and acceptance of validation, the success, the joy that I longed for. I honestly just couldn't see how I was blocking my own receiving by not trusting that just as I was, that I was enough. Not to mention, all of that efforting and striving was actually exhausting as fuck. So, embarking on my 2nd divorce taught me an invaluable lesson of self-trust. It was a journey of tuning into my own intuition and of answering the persistent whisper that promised more. There was a call to more in life, and trusting in myself was about believing in my own ability to know what is best for me, despite the external opinions and pressures. Now, deep down inside, I knew there was something more and better in store for me. And when it got to the point where I just couldn't take it anymore, I finally decided to answer that call. Now, this call to more was for me a deep-seated yearning for a relationship that transcended the ordinary. I was looking for something that would fulfill me on every level. Now, responding to this call for me meant embracing a significant amount of uncertainty. It meant an increasingly large amount of vulnerability. And it meant embracing the belief that I deserved a love that was in complete harmony with who I am. And it was both terrifying and exciting. Terrifying because, well, frankly, there was absolutely no guarantee that I would ever find this kind of love. And hello, this totally poked my abandonment wound. At the same time, it was really exciting because a world of possibilities existed, just beyond this certainty of my so-called comfort zone. Now, I knew because I had divorced before and found love again that it was possible, but somehow as I aged, it felt like an even greater uncertainty. And especially with 3 kids in tow, I was worried. Now, ending my first marriage was actually pretty easy as far as it goes because there was just simply no way we could continue in a relationship after he told me that we were like Will and Grace. Now, I knew that we had become a lot more like roommates than lovers, but the news felt like a slap in the face when I asked him for clarity, asking him, "You know that Will is gay, right?" And after going through a huge range of emotions, feelings, and thoughts about, was it something I did? Was it me? And why me, God? I eventually came to the conclusion that it truly had nothing to do with me and everything to do with him. And, after I picked myself up off of the bathroom floor after a couple of days, I realized that until this point, he had been living in a major misalignment to his own truth. And until then, he had been unwilling or unable to face it. He was genuinely a very kind person, and I know he wasn't trying to hurt me. That just wasn't his nature. But after 6 years together, this misalignment simply wasn't something he could continue to live with. So despite his biggest fears, he decided to step into being fully and authentically himself, which included pursuing a relationship with a man. Now, of course, I was hurt. I was fucking devastated. I was also confused, disappointed, and more than a tad bit irritated with his timing, because perhaps this was something he could have mentioned before the wedding. But in the end, I simply had to trust that everything would work out, because there was basically nothing that I would be able to do to change his mind on this one. Now, ironically, following this, I went through 2 additional relationships where I was the one struggling to live with the misalignment I had set up for myself. And I spent many years trying to make something work where it just wasn't a fit. And my fear of abandonment reared its ugly head more than once throughout the 2-year relationship that I had and throughout my second marriage, regularly. And I stayed in both of these relationships, to be honest, long past the point where it was quite obvious that it wasn't working. And I am pretty sure, looking back now, that all of this was done in an attempt to avoid facing my fear of being alone. In fact, it actually took being triggered as fuck by a friend for me to snap out of this line of thinking in my second marriage. And so, at one point I was venting and complaining a bit and blaming my ex about all of the things that were wrong in my life. And my friend so boldly said to me, "You're never going to leave him, so what's it matter?" Oof. Now, I'm telling you what, that lit a fire under my ass. And while I cannot say that I liked her saying so in that moment, it was a wake-up call to take action on the misalignment that I had been feeling for quite some time. I wrestled with the decision for literally years, going back and forth on what the right decision for me was, and terrified that I'd make the wrong fucking choice. Now, when kids are in the picture, it definitely makes things a little bit different. And to be honest, I was absolutely willing to barter myself in order to protect them. As I mentioned last week, I stayed for a long time believing that I was protecting them before realizing the truth of the reality, which was that by staying, I was actually teaching them some lessons about relationships and life that I did not want to be. I didn't want to teach them to continue to stick it out where it clearly wasn't working, trying to sacrifice their own happiness for the needs of others, or any of the other unhealthy relationship dynamics that they were witnessing on a regular basis. I did not want them to think that that was healthy or normal. And I knew that if I could have any impact on the quality of their future relationships, I was going to have to model something healthy and loving. And I knew that what they were witnessing at that time was not it. So my journey through my second divorce was actually about learning to trust my inner voice. It was as much about this as it was about navigating the grief and loss that I was facing. And in fact, both were crucial in navigating this life-altering decision and in thriving after the divorce. And in the end, I actually learned that there truly are no missteps when you make choices that come from a place of authenticity and love. Because when done so, every decision brings you closer to the life that you're meant to lead. And as much as, we often like to plan the whole thing out and have this extreme level of certainty, that's simply just not possible. We can never really know for sure what will result. And yet, when we can hold space for this uncertainty and continue to act from a place of love, we cannot misstep. What we can get to know is how to hear our own inner voice and how to trust it. We can learn to rely on the love that we have within us to guide us towards those experiences that are probably imperfect, yet perfect for us. And I've come to understand that in the realm of self-discovery, every single choice is a step forward. Every single decision, even those that lead to pain, can be a catalyst for growth and deeper understanding of oneself. And this means that we can always alchemize the shit and turn our mess into a message, which means that we can use our struggles in a way that helps others. And as we make choices and as we step forward, we continue to learn and grow and take more wisdom with us into the next steps. And this makes it easier and easier for us to discern whether we are acting from a place of love versus from a place of fear, and for us to move confidently forward despite not having that complete certainty in how things are going to play out. By taking action, we build self-trust. By listening to our intuition, which is always based on love and expansion, versus listening to our fears, which come from a place of constriction and limitation and safety in what is familiar, we begin to open up new possibilities and opportunities that actually seem to appear as if out of thin air. Now, by knowing myself and by living my truth, I found a relationship that is both aligned with my deepest values and wonderfully fulfilling. It's a partnership based on mutual acceptance, respect, and love. It's a beautiful reflection of what can happen when you align first with your authentic self. And that list that I created a couple of weeks ago that I mentioned that helped me to recognize what this ideal relationship would look like, I'm going to tell you, it came in really, really handy as I determined whether my connection with my current spouse was truly a fit. And it helped me to be able to clearly communicate not only what I wanted, but what I truly needed from a partnership if it was actually going to work. Now, in being my true self, I was actually able to allow someone else to truly see all of me, thus opening the door for receiving the unconditional love and acceptance that I desired. And by having that clarity of what would be aligned for me in advance, it was so much easier for me to recognize it when I got into a relationship with him. Now, not only this, but it also really helped me to very quickly get clarity when it came to other people that I was meeting and dating in this time frame as well. The truth is, armed with this clarity, it actually allowed my partner and I to intentionally create a relationship that has felt like magic every step of the way. And as I shared last week, I spent a lot of time running from my authentic self. And as a result, I continued to feel unseen, unheard, and frankly, just plain not good enough. And after all of that running away from myself, it turns out that running was also a metaphor for running towards the life of my dreams. And in an ultimate twist of irony, I chased a stranger for 42.2 kilometers and forged a new connection when I had least expected to. And that day, while running a marathon, I let my authentic self be seen and known. To be truthful, I was not looking for love. In fact, I was not looking for a damn thing. I knew that I was whole all by myself. I knew that I no longer needed anyone else to complete me or fix me, heal me, or make me happy. And it was this level of non-attachment, along with unconditional self-love and acceptance, that opened the door for me to receive the most beautiful experience of love with another. Run for Your Life, Lessons Learned from Going the Distance isn't just a book that's about the physical act of running. It's actually about looking inwards at the things that we are both running away from and running towards, in an effort to do so with a little bit more intention than we did yesterday. In my chapter, Chasing Shadows, Finding Love, is about moving with purpose towards your authentic self, towards relationships and experiences that nourish you, and towards unconditional love and acceptance. The journey of self-discovery is actually the path to unleashing your true self and creating a life and relationships that make you truly fucking happy. And as I close out today's episode, I hope that this story inspires you to face life's toughest decisions with courage and to trust in the power of your own authenticity. Remember, by being genuinely ourselves, we set the stage for receiving the love and happiness that we deserve. And if you're ready to embark on your own journey of self-discovery, I'll be sharing 2 of the books, Run for Your Life, available March 15th, and the Unstuck for Women Daily Self-Discovery Journal, which is available now, in the show notes below. Both of these are worthy sources of insight and inspiration that are designed to guide you every step of the way in creating healthy and loving relationships that make you truly happy. Now, we're all in this messy, fucking beautiful adventure of life together, and there is so much more magic to be made. I love you all. Now let's go do some epic shit, shall we? Thank you so much for listening to today's show. I trust you were inspired to take back your power and create your happy. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love to hear from you. Please subscribe, leave a review, and share the show with the women in your life who could use a little more inspiration today. If you'd like to connect or explore the additional resources mentioned in this episode, you can find those details and links in the show notes below. As always, get out there, have fun, be you, and create your happy.